Hello and Aloha po to all the people in Canada. Today is 28th of August. A bit of surprise because tonight I am in Thunder Bay, Ontario at one of my best friends, John Gervais. I'm here at his house. Time is actually 10:43 and I took the opportunity to continue my discussion on the Canadianism. I took 2 episodes to share my opinion about the native people of Canada. Tonight I like to talk about the Anglo-Saxons, which are the main fabric of the Canadian populations. When I talk about Canada, I always see the native people to be the forerunners. And I see the Anglo-Saxon race as the builders, that they actually built this country. In my analogy, French people, I see them as the equalizer, because they were the liver of democracy. It has to watch like an inspector over what's happening by the majority of the Anglo-Saxons. And the rest of the Canadians, like myself, the immigrants, I call them the users. So we have the forerunners, the builders, the equalizers, and the users. Hope we are using this, what has been made to us as a legacy, in a proper way. When I think about Canada and the world, I sometimes think of what is the biggest things that man has achieved in the planet Earth. People are mostly focused on the tangible things. Probably they say 7 wonders of the world. Probably the wall of China. Some people, they might see that as the Egyptian pyramids. But to my understanding, the greatest things that has ever have occurred in the planet Earth, so far the history allows us to know, was this social endeavor, a social work that was done by the people of the United Kingdom, which includes the Scottish, the English, Wales, and Irish. They have created, as you know, the country Canada, United States, Australia, and New Zealand. This is such a huge and colossal work. As a contractor, I know what it takes to just build a house, how difficult it is to create a subdivision for developers, yet alone to think of building a city. Now the whole country, as vast as Canada, the whole continent, let's say. So English people, the people of United Kingdom, they just stamped it. The new world is built by them. They were the contractors of God after the Crusaders. And what a fantastic country they have made according to the basically opinions of the people of the world. Because today, all the people of the world, majority of them, maybe 80–90% of them, they would readily like to be Canadian or Australian, Americans, New Zealanders. People, they just like to love this country. So something right was getting done here. The social justice, you know, the economical things that they brought. So I'm always really baffled with the power of this people of this small country in the world, and yet the colossal work that they have done. So what's really baffling is not the country that you see here, it's that power of wanting to know, that power of curiosity, the power of that creativity, which Canada is only a manifestation of it, really, truly. States, Australia, they're just manifesting this power of curiosity of knowledge, of creativity of the people of Anglo-Saxon race. I'm always looking, where are those people that they came to those ships that compared to our technology today, they're just barely, they're just a boat. But they were brave enough to cross Atlantic in such a vessel of such very really a small boat with a lot of very limited, and they crossed the whole continent to come down here. When all those people, I'm always looking around. As a salesman that I've been in Canada, talking to a lot of people, a lot of Anglo-Saxon have been my customers. I'm always wondering, to come down in this country where, there's no doctor, there's no medicine, there's no insurance, there's no tools. You're going to build right in the middle of the wilderness. We have to remember the people of England, they were not the worst people off in the planet. They were the top-notch people in the planet. They were pretty rich. They were not poor. Like today you see Chinese or Latinos or Iranians, they come to Canada, in a very terrible condition sometimes, but because they have no choice. Their life, is a danger, they're behind them, they're dying, they're starving. So at that point, man does anything. But people of England, they were not that poor. They actually had enough money to pay for their trips to come here, so they could have just stayed in England. But they nevertheless decided to come here. That sense of adventure, the sense of change, it just seems God had put this in their system that they have to do this. How would you go there? Most of us right now in 21st century, we would never can venture something like that to go in one of those boats, one of those tall ships. To go from here across the Atlantic, the idea sounds crazy. But just a couple of centuries ago, people did this actually to come down here. I've been in the city of Quebec. It isn't a French example, but Champlain must have millions of dollars, even by those days, yes, spent to just to create the city of Quebec City, and you go. This monument that they have made, is made there, right now it's a turning hotel. You just see that the people were something in this country, they're just coming. Anyways, I'm looking, always trying to look to find an Anglo-Saxon. Now and then sometimes I see some people in Canada that I work for them, that's a bit of English accent. And when I talk to them about what has been achieved, they are themselves baffled. They said, do you see it that way? I said, well, it is. Who really built Canada? Who really built Australia, I was you. You people did it. He says, you're some English defenders, are you? I said, no, I'm not really, on any sides of anybody to say that I'm with this people or that people. I'm just on the side of the truth. That practically manifests itself in front of you. In this case, is undeniable that it was the people of the United Kingdom that did all of this. But anyways, they do not see themselves like this. They've been inculcated that perhaps they've been exploiting people, or they've been negative, remarks. It's in their mind and in their head. And I keep telling them that I do not see it that way. I see something right is done here. It's different from those works that people in southern, America have done, Hispanics, for example. This movement here is what very different. People in the United Kingdom, they were not coming here after gold, really. They're after building a new country, you see. I mean, it shows. Look at it right now and compare it to other places. But where is that generations? Where are those people? They must have a lot of self-esteem, a lot of confidence, a lot of integrity, a lot of adventure, a lot of industrious they were. What are those people? I just can't find them. So that really bothers me, that it seems that when they come down here, they were just prompted for a single mission to build this country to this stage, and when they're done, it's like self-destruct mechanism, and they just have to die out and go. It's a sad story, and I really don't want to accept it. I think this race is alive and has to come back and continue the job. So, but when you look at, the same thing happened to the native people here. They were okay here before the English people come here. So what the Anglo-Saxon brought here was choice. Native people were innocent before. They didn't know what alcohol is, they didn't know all these things. But as soon as it was showed to them and they saw it, then they wanted it. They said, hey, yeah, this is good, we want it. As a result, they kind of moved away from their culture into the new culture. And as they assimilated themselves and were assimilated later on, they fall into the same category. It seems that there's something in the weather of this country. It's just too powerful, Canada. People come down here and they change. I've seen even people from East Europe, Italians, I've seen Indians, I've seen Chinese, Iranians. When they come down here on a generation, the next generation is not the same thing. It's just the old culture is wiped out, and these people kind of falling into the same situation, that a sense of complacency, a sense of apathy, it's in them, that they're not the same people as their mom and dad was. I've been thinking about this issue, honestly, for a long time. Why the Anglo-Saxon race is gone? They're all on welfare, they're all on crack, they're all on... The rest of them that are any good, they're all depressed, they're all divorced. Just the whole thing is disintegrating, What is, happening? What can we do? First, I guess we have to find an answer. I, for myself, because I'm a thinker, as my friend Jack says, I'm an intellectual, I found that man, to manifest his truth, the truth of his reality, the very essence of humanity, he needs two processes. The process one is a physical one, that we grow in the womb of our mother. For 9 months we grow a hand and eyes and ears, all the faculties that we require to have in order to function in this life, the life right outside of the womb. And when we come down here as a human being, and like other animals, we do not come with a software made by God into our system. An ostrich knows his natural enemy after 5 seconds after she's born. A duck knows immediately to swim. They don't need to learn. But human being comes with an open file system. It's different. He has to write down his own file. Well, in that case, man has been given free will. Therefore, God says, that's all I give you, free will, then you write your own. In this case, it seems that mankind has developed in the course of evolution that he has to have another womb, a social womb, that he has to be in there for at least 15 to 20 years under the love and conditional love of the mother and the father, those who gave birth to him, to teach him the other faculties that he can develop the characters, without which he would be totally a functionless individual. As we have seen, people who are born in the dysfunctional families, they honestly cannot function pretty well in the society. They all grow up with bad habits, a lot of things, misconceptions about the things. lopsided opinions. But if they're born in a proper, conditions, social conditions, then there are proper characters. Usually they have willpower. It seems that this love of the mother and father, it has to be there. So it's a very amazing situation, as I have explained before. The institution of family, it's a divine institution. Why? Because in case of Christianity, Christ has to rule the family. Democracy fails in the family. Family of a wife and a husband, two of them, they cannot apply democracy between the two people. Who do you vote to? Two people cannot vote. This is why family, even in a democratic country, would have to have a third party, a boss, a manager, a grandfather, somebody that becomes a cushion between this possible conflict between husband and wife. In the case of Christianity, that would be Christ. That would be Christianity. And this was the spiritual force. And this spiritual force, it's so important because it constitutes love, trust, things that cannot be legislated by the lawyers and lawmakers. It cannot be postulated by the philosophers. It cannot be articulated and manufactured by the artists or scientists. Nobody can do it. It seems only in the order of Christ people actually stay together and love each other. And therefore it creates that spiritual womb, and where the spiritual rule makes the children to grow with powerful characters. That was the system. That was the backbone of the English Anglo-Saxons' endeavor. That mechanized them and empowered them, was the engine behind it. That made them to come to Canada and do it. So, the whole humanity itself, not just one single person, the whole humanity also, you can say there's two wombs. One is, we call it Mother Nature. So we are in the Mother Nature, nurtured by the factory of God called the nature. God manufactures us within his factory, which is nature, through the process that he has ordained already. So why? Because we're coming out of the womb of the Mother Nature, we're going to the other side of the existence, where we need all this spiritual faculty, without which we would be handicapped. We simply do not have the power to do it. The people of Europe, they all had this spiritual social womb, which is ruled spiritually. So, in the Europe, the material progress, invention, industrial revolutions, changed the systems in the Europe. Gradually, you can see knock down a lot of kings, systems, create social justice. So this economical and scientific progress also changed the social systems. All right? So it seems Europe knew what to do with the Christianity, and they adopted somehow. So when they came in Canada, the things changed. Here, people, the same English people, they were not after kings anymore. What king? They said, now democracy here. People in the United States said, no, we don't need no kings. Even Canadians, they reduced it to what we know it is right now in Australia or New Zealand. So it seems this dimension of the spirituality could not migrate and sustain itself in Canada, because the fabric of the economy and social system changed. There had to be a change as well to the spiritual